The following program is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
What's going on, y'all? Wednesday is the Guru's Perspective. Your boy E-Buck is in the building with my man Hugh Lee. We ain't got time to play with y'all this week. Let's go.
I want to get into it. I want to start off by saying we're going to start off with the NBA, man. We're going to talk about a few things. Kevin Durant, man, he's the fifth player on the list right now as far as the NBA scoring list of all time, passing Michael Jordan. Your thoughts?
Anybody that had 30,000 points in the NBA is one of the top 25 players of all time. Michael Jordan, the problem is that we will never know what them 2 years that he wasn't in the league was like. We will not know what happened. That's second time he retired. If he played for as long as Kevin Durant and LeBron James has played, he probably would have a scoring record that neither one of them would be able to break. So no disrespect to KD. He did his thing. He will be a Hall of Famer, but Michael Jordan still is the GOAT.
Jason Tatum return. How do you feel about him and his chances of Boston being number one coming out of the East?
I just pray that brother don't get hurt, that he ain't come back too soon. Things is popping off for him. He getting his endorsement deals going on. He making out good with the baby. His baby mama going on tour this summer. He living a good life right now. I ain't mad at it. As long as he stay healthy and they don't overwork him, I definitely think they will have an opportunity to possibly win the East. But all that being said, I still feel like the Pistons will win the East. Will they make it to the finals? That's another story.
March 21st, LeBron James, man, officially became the NBA all-time leader of regular season games. He played passing Robert Parrish. What are your thoughts? Because, I know Robert Parrish was an Iron Man, man, and the record, the long-standing record was 1,611 games, and James broke it recently with 1,612.
Hold on. Rewind. Go back. 2 spaces. Boom, boom. You ain't comment on neither one of these things. Get to talking. What you doing?
As far as my man's Jason Tatum go, man, I feel like they got a good chance. But I can't believe we didn't think they were supposed to win. They won, man, and I was going up against the Lakers, man. I really felt like they should have beat them by more. The Lakers had a good comeback in that game, but it came up short. Definitely was happy with that win. We wasn't expecting. There's going to be some wins possibly that we don't expect that they're going to still pull out too. So, yeah, it's definitely still like up to the Pistons right now in the way they play. Depends on how far they're going to get. I still think they can get that number 1 seed, but like you said, my final hopes is definitely gone. But as far as the LeBron James, man, I wanted to know your thoughts on that one.
Okay, back to that one now. Okay, yeah, by the way, the Hawks will definitely have something to say about the East. Remember, they played Boston like 3 times. They played Pistons like 3 times, including tonight. Curious to see how well they play because the Hawks is kind of getting up there. Anyway, back to LeBron. Now, granted, I know some of us, we take LeBron for granted because he has played in the league as long as he had. I mean, if you go back, think about it. For those of us who played 2K and all of that, I don't think there's ever been a 2K that LeBron was not in. That's just how old that brother is. So all that, and then we look at him playing now, and you remember when Robert Parrish was playing in them last games, he was just there. If he was not a footer, he probably wouldn't have played nearly as much as he did, and it wasn't that much. That being said, LeBron James is a legitimate 30-minute player at 41. Now, I know one of the players said I can see him playing until his late 45 to 50. I don't know about all that, But I definitely can see him playing again next year and the year after that for sure, and still being effective if they play in this way. But yeah,
Definitely.
I mean that's a lot of games, y'all. It's a lot of players. Remember, the average life of an NBA player is like 2.5 seasons. So to play like some 22 seasons and play most of those games, that's pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah, I definitely believe so too, man. Every time you look up, he breaking a record, but the consistency too. And like you said, Robert Parrish wasn't the same player at the age 41. So I just don't feel like people get that brother his flowers, and they should, man. Much respect to him, man. Like we said, I thought that he should be retiring this year, but I think he gonna definitely make it known by next season and go out the correct way.
Yeah, quick story that I found out recently. You remember the great one himself, Wilt Chamberlain, right?
Right.
Uh, when he retired, it was about 37. They still felt like he had a lot of game left. Say for the next 5 years, pretty much every other team in the NBA was insisting on trying to get him back. They would literally send $1 million contracts to his doorstep for him to review and sign, and he could play right then and there. And he turned them down left and right. He just refused to play anymore at that point. But teams wanted him real bad. I can imagine if LeBron actually did shut it down after this season, I can see a scenario where a year or two later, LeBron, you still got some game. Come on back.
He definitely gonna do it on his terms, which I respect too. But I definitely feel like he got one good year, man. One good last year.
I'm still playing 2 more years. That's it.
Yeah, because I want to know how things gonna go too with the team as far as what they're gonna do with my man Reeves too. So there's a lot of things going on there. But I want to move on now, and I want to talk about the WNBA deal becoming official. What are your thoughts on the new deal?
All right. First of all, y'all stop looking at the doggone thing back there. I know it's gonna be that one person that's gonna want to comment, man. I see that though. Don't worry about it. The studio gonna get moved around next week. We're gonna have the sets back. We're gonna be all right, okay? We working things out. Anyway, your question again. I'm sorry. That threw me off.
WNBA deal basically became a
Congratulations to the women of the WNBA. It was a hard fight. Some of them first offers they were getting was trash. What they wanted, they really didn't get for real in terms of monetary, but they came to a good medium. And I'm thankful that there will be a WNBA season. I really felt like when we talked about a few weeks ago that it wasn't going to happen.
Me neither.
I really felt like that because they was just too far apart. The sad part is the average WNBA player only semi benefits from this because they get more benefits than they had and they get a bump in pay, but it's still not quite where it needs to be. Again, I never see a world where women will get paid as much as the men. I mean, we just a society like that. We're not going to value them enough to do that. But if they could at least get to a third of what the men make, what the top players in the women's league make, let's just say 10 million a season. I'd be happy with that. Because that would, those top players would not have to go play overseas. So my real concern is that this is a 7-year deal. I think that was too long to deal. Remember, by that time, we should have at least 4 more new teams in the league. The league will expand. They'll probably expand to more games, and they'll probably have way more TV exposure at that point. So they're going to want to make a better deal halfway through that 7 years, but it's stuck now.
I think so myself, man. I just feel like it'd have been better off for them, like to make at least 10 to 12 million max. And then, like the lowest you can get is like a bench player at making like maybe 1 or 2 million, but yeah, those days I definitely don't see that happening, man. When your highest payers in the max is going to be 1.4, 1.5 million. So yeah, man. And then they talking about making them play more games. It's not a lot more games, like maybe 2 added on, but it's just still, man, they made this deal and didn't really accommodate for the what they got to go through, man. Like you said, they'll never get as much as the men do, but at least give them something, man. Like you said, so they don't have to go through all the dramas of going overseas, just to try to make ends meet.
And remember, ultimately, this should be a better season this year anyway, y'all, for the simple fact that there is no Olympic break this season. So they can play the season all the way through, and that won't throw things off so much.
All right. I want to get into the NFL now, man. After 14 seasons, Levante David announced his retirement. What are your thoughts?
We'll see him in the Hall of Fame in 5 years. He was one of the most consistent linebackers in the game. He wasn't overly extravagant, but you definitely knew he was in the building when he was in the building.
Absolutely.
So he will definitely get his proper due as a first ballot Hall of Famer. And Tampa, they got some big shoes to fill.
Absolutely. They got a lot to fill right now, man. No disrespect to him, but yeah, he was a lot. Because not only him, and then, you got to look at Mike Evans, man. But then, I mean, it is what it is, man. That's just the way it is in the league.
Seasons change, brother.
Yep. I want to get on now to the my man's deal in the NFL, Mr. Jackson Smith and Jigba. That was a huge deal, 168.6 million, and then 42.15 million per year, and over 120 million guaranteed. Man, I think that was well deserved. But what are your thoughts on that?
Jigba is not the highest paid wide receiver in the league, and based on what I've seen, he should be. I mean, understand, he makes more money this season now than half the quarterbacks in the NFL, to give you some idea of what that really is. So I expect him to get thrown the ball a lot. I expect him to get double teamed a lot. I expect him to still catch it a lot. Because, so far from what we see, he that dude.
Yes.
Seattle did the right thing.
Absolutely.
By making sure that you pay him that type of money and he ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, because DK Metcalf, man, he definitely didn't live up to what we thought he was. And now it seems like when he over there with Pittsburgh making that type of money, he still ain't live up to those expectations. So I look at it like that was the right move for them. And I still feel like eventually Puka will, knock on that door, maybe surpass it. But, with the issues he's going through right now, we'll talk about that a whole nother day.
Definitely will not be the last time a wide receiver sees 40+ million.
Absolutely.
Got a couple coming to the league soon that will probably make that much down the line.
All right, E-Man. March Madness winners and losers to you right now. Going into the Sweet 16.
Okay. One of the big losers, I'm going to start with the women's side. Tennessee, yeah, I definitely see the announcement coming very soon that they will be switching coaches because clearly, when I watched that team last year, that team that beat UConn Lady Huskies, I felt like they was on the upturn. They was growing as an organization that, this plan she put in place to basically take the best players and have them start every game and have the bench come back and forth and whatnot. It was working. Somewhere between then and now, it stopped working. I don't know what happened. I don't know where she lost them. But clearly she lost them. That team was definitely better than their record indicated. That team was definitely better than how they played in the tournament. They are the big loser there. Also, Iowa State, big loser. Remember, at one point in time, Iowa State was the number 2 ranked team in the country, undefeated. 19-0. Then they went on that little run where they lost 4 out of 5. It was kind of a different story after that. We thought they kind of figured something out when Jada Williams started being more of a scoring and passing option on that squad, take some of that pressure off Audie Crooks. But in the end, the better team said, we know what to do with you. Either we're going to just let you score and wear you out on defense, or we're going to beat you up and force you to get in foul trouble and then deal with y'all that way. For those teams that had that plan, it clearly worked out well. For other teams, it was like, she's too big, can't do nothing with it. The question is, Iowa State, what do you do now? You already got 2 people that have hit the portal because they don't like the plan. I think what it boils down to, you got some decent players on that Iowa State team, but you know the plan. Pass it to the big dog. You better not shoot it. You better pass it to the big dog. I don't think they signed up for that. I want to play too. So either you find people that's going to fit the system or you basically fill out the roster, let Audie do her thing in her senior year, and then go from there. Those are the losers on the women's side. The men's side, Let's see. It's a couple people I would go with.
I got a couple right now. If you want me to,
Inside, go for
North Carolina first and
it.
foremost,
Absolutely.
man. You play Virginia Commonwealth. We didn't hear from them in a while. We were just talking about Shaka Smart the last week, and they didn't need him this time because you know how you up 19 and then you lose that game. And then, you know, when I seen that, I was like, yeah, y'all coach got to go. And then he was escorted out of the building, you know, just recently. And Hubert Davis, it was worth it. I feel like for them doing what they did their jobs at this point. But another team, when you know, if you want to make it easier, I could put it on both sides, men and women. Texas Tech, what the hell was y'all doing, man? Y'all got in the tournament and didn't do anything like we thought y'all would do. And they got embarrassed in both games, man.
Right. On both the Texas Tech men and women's side, going into December, both of those teams were undefeated. And now we end up here.
They got beat pretty bad, man. And I was like, wow, I was just surprised that they didn't show up, man. I really thought that they would do better than what I've seen. And another one on the women's side, man. Yeah, I would have to go with Iowa State, man, because I thought that they would play better than what they did. And they just dropped the ball, man. But then, you know, like you said, Audie Crooks did her job. You know, she had 37 points. I think Jada Williams had 14, but it still wasn't enough. And, you know, they let her get hers. Audie Crooks, nobody else really got anything, no. And then you see Yep. And then one more on the men's side. Man, you know, I ain't definitely forget about them. You're a great school when it comes to football, one of the best. But what the hell happened to Georgia, man, with the St. Louis Billikens, man? That was embarrassing. Not only did they lose, it was 102-77. They definitely didn't show up.
And they had some premium people on that squad, including the son of the human dunk highlight himself. That had but I would definitely advocate for him coming back to school for his sophomore season.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's necessary.
Here's the thing, Hugh, and looking at the tournament so far, are you surprised that we did not get quite as many upsets as we thought we was early on?
Not at all, because we were talking about it too. We got a few upsets. One team I had to throw a shot at too. Two of them now, man. Now that I think about it, we already predicted Villanova too. Villanova do this every single tournament. You can either go all the way.
They going out
first round. But then at the same time, Kansas did that to us this year too, because the first game they didn't even supposed to win that game, but then they went on, and you know the big guy that they feel like supposed to be one of the best players and number one overall, which we definitely don't see it. No. He played well in spurts, but then when you need him in clutch moments, he just didn't come through, man. So that was my issue with the Kansas team as well. So, yeah. But like you said, man, it ain't really like, oh, we expect a team like a Cinderella team to come out and, you know, end up on top. A lot of it didn't really happen. Like you said, a lot of it is because of the NIL and the transfer portal. But a lot of teams pay a lot of money for some of these players too, like Kentucky. They paid all that money for their team, man, and look at them where they at right now.
Right, and, you know, now North Carolina's digging for a big name to replace him. People have thrown the name Kenny the Jet Smith in the mix. What do you think of that?
Kenny the Jet Smith? I don't think about him.
You don't think he would be good for the job?
I think that you know, it's cool because you know he went to North Carolina, you know, but as a coach, I'm not really feeling that. Maybe it's just me.
Well, see, from my understanding, he is quite familiar with the AAU circuit and has done work with them and contributed to that. So they felt like that's part of the reason why he would be a good get, because obviously you Kenny the Jet Smith, you're a very recognizable brand. So when you go into the kids to recruit, you would think Kenny would do a pretty good job of recruiting. But, you know, the whole reason why North Carolina is feeling some type of way is because, remember, right down the street from them is that team called Duke. And them damn Dukies still, after Coach K, still making number one seeds and overall records and whatnot. That don't make the North Carolina people feel too happy. So that's why I felt like Hubert lost his job. I felt like he a decent job in North Carolina. It just wasn't good enough. Certain schools, you got to perform a certain way. You know, we often talk about that on the football side with Alabama. Basically, after you done had one of the best of all time there, unless you win in the championship game or you somewhere in that, boy, it's not acceptable.
Yeah, because like you say, man, and it's sad too because my man Caleb Wilson wasn't even playing. But when you up by 19 and you still lose, then that's where the problem lies. Obviously, if they was getting their butt kicked at the beginning, but I looked at the game and I was like, man, I'm not gonna watch the rest of this. Maybe I should just kind of keep an eye out. You know how you look on that screen when you be watching the games, and I was like, what happened to that lead? And then it got to the point where they went all the way to overtime. And I said, that's not looking good, man. And they ended up blowing it. So, yeah, man, felt bad for the coach, man. But like you said, he did an okay job, just not good enough for the Tar Heels.
Right. And I'm curious because keep in mind, on his watch, they have recruited for next season 2 top 10 McDonald's All-Americans coming in. The question now, because, you know, when you get rid of the coach, that automatically kind of null and voids the deals for the NIL nowadays. So that gives you the opportunity to say, well, I was going there because he was going to coach. Now he ain't coaching. I ain't going there.
So they're going to have to definitely do a splash on the coaching tip, like you said, man, to convince those brothers to go.
Call for a big splash coaching-wise, and it might cause for a little more extra scratch once you put on the books for some of them to get them to stay.
Yeah, you got a point right there, man. Man, it was a pleasure talking about everything today as far as what we was talking about, man. But you already know what time it is, man. I'm going to let you take the floor now, man. This is what we've been definitely waiting for. Today's kicked off the opening day, and it's going to be the Yankees versus the Giants, the San Francisco Giants. But the crazy part about it is this is just the first game, and then all the slate of games and all the games in general are going to be coming on tomorrow. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But then I want to talk to you on, you know, because I was going to keep it like just low key. But the whole Yu Darvish situation just happened before we even really got on the show, man. How do you think that's going to impact the games and stuff when and I don't think it's going to impact that much. But then it's curious, man, because, you know, usually he be the starter on opening day, man, when we play. But now him not being a part of that, I'm pretty interested in seeing how this season going to shape up because, you know, that's our opponent. We're going to be going to San Diego, the Detroit Tigers, and playing them. How do you think that impacted?
Understand, Yu Darvish is one of the top 25 pitchers in the league, low key. He was a lot more high profile when he was with Texas in his early days of the league, but also understand Yu Darvish should be like in his late 30s now. So whatever the issue is with him, it might be type of issue where we may not see Yu Darvish anymore in the San Diego Padres uniform after this. I'm sure details as time go on, but long story short, it affects the Padres to some extent, but the Padres have shown a propensity that a lot of teams in the league have not. We'll spend the money. We ain't going to spend it. Another team we're going to talk about, obviously. But, yeah, we'll definitely spend some money. So, in the end, if it comes down to, okay, we kind of one pitcher short, I can see them making deals to make things happen. I don't think it's going to affect them greatly, and I don't think it matters, as we'll talk about it as we get into the preview.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, no, let's not get into it. First, let's get into some of these commercials. And then when we come back, y'all know what time it is. It's time for our yearly MLB preview. We're going to make it fast and furious and fun for y'all. I know some of y'all ain't that big of baseball fans, but Smurf y'all, man. Baseball, my first love. I'd be a fool not to talk baseball when it's in my heart to do. Okay? So we'll be doing that after this commercial break. We'll be back, y'all.
From the heart of Detroit, a new sound takes flight. Hawk World Radio, powered by AI, made for your vibe. Local energy, global reach. Hawk World Radio Detroit, where the future of sound.
A new podcast is hitting the YouTube and Facebook streets called Speaking Freely with Miss Gigo. If you have listened to the audio version, you are going to like this one. Come join Miss Gigo every Sunday at 10 p.m. where she will be discussing different topics you can give your opinion on, This is your chance to be part of the conversation and share what's really on your mind. Speaking Freely with Miss Gigo, where your voice matters.
This is the story about an African-American woman who is passionate about professional wrestling and goes to countless events. She then, one day, gets the idea to start a wrestling talk podcast to talk about her favorite wrestlers and wrestling programs. She has a home podcasting room full of wrestling memorabilia that she uses to do the show, and every week you can tune in and join in the conversation.
All right, y'all, we are back. This is the Guru Sports Session. I am Uncle E-Buck, the co-host and semi-producer of the show. Because hell, that dude, Hugh been producing the show too now. Y'all ain't gonna need me no more. Find somebody to do my job, and I'm just gonna sit in the back and just be like, good job, y'all. Way to go, y'all. Anyway, until then, I'm still working the board. All right, now. This is the MLB preview. What we're going to do here is simply this. I'm going to go to each division. We're going to break down the teams. You're going to let me know from 1 to 4, 1 to 5, where you think they're going to fit in, and give me some quick details as to why, okay? Let's start out in one of your favorite divisions, because your team is there. AL East. We got the Yankees. We got the Blue Jays. We got the Orioles. We got the Red Sox. We got the Tampa Bay Rays. Give me a ranking from worst to first to worst, however you want to do.
I definitely go with what surprised me is we thought Baltimore was gonna be the team to come out on top, man. I think the Pete Alonso gonna help, but I'm kind of still shaky on them right now, man. I'm feeling like until somebody proves me wrong, New York will be the number one team in that actual AL East. And then I'm gonna go with Boston as a close second, because they did some good sneaky moves. Some of them weren't sneaky, they were just in your face. And then I'm going to go with, surprisingly enough, I'm going to go back with Toronto. And then I think it's going to be Toronto, Baltimore, and then, you're going to have Tampa Bay. They're all going to be some decent competitive teams, but I think I'm the odd man looking out is going to probably be Tampa Bay, even though I know that on any given day, they could beat any of them teams, but it's still to the point where I still feel like they'll be the last team in the division.
All right. I don't know why y'all took me off the camera for that second. But anyway, look, here's the deal, people. I don't agree with his list, and I'm going to give you mine. One, I'm definitely going with New York. They just spent the money. They will have the pitching that they didn't last year. Remember, part of what hurt them during the season was they pitching got hurt, particularly guy Garrett Cole. He is back now. He had the Tommy John surgery. It might take him a month to kind of really get into it, but once he on, he will be on. When Garrett Cole is right, he is one of the top 5 pitchers in the league without question. So they just need a couple people to step up in that starting lineup. The bullpen should be looking pretty good. Remember, they made all those deals last year around the trade deadline. A lot of those guys are back, so you had that to rely on. The other key is, can we keep the hitters healthy, in particular the big boys? Because, again, for as good as Aaron Judge has been these last few years, it has been consistent that sometimes during the season he get hurt for a little bit. And do we even need to talk about that dude, Giancarlo Stanton? Stay hurt. Stay hurt. You can pretty much pencil him in for 100, and them other 62 he's sitting down.
He the Joel Embiid, he the Joel Embiid of the MLB to me, man.
Right. Rest a lot up to sign up. They should be good for 95. Okay. Second, I'm actually not going with Boston. I'm going with Toronto. I think Toronto won't quite make it to first this year because the pitching is a little less than what it was last year, and I don't think their bullpen was really as good. That's pretty much what cost them that World Series. The fact that at a certain pitching level, they had to work with what was left. The hitting was still good. They'll still play well at home. They'll play good in the East because remember, with a lot of their games being in the East, that means they get to play at Fenway Park, they get to play at Yankee Stadium, they get to hit the Boomers, okay? And of course, Vlad Guerrero Jr. will do Vlad Guerrero Jr. things. Third, I actually got Boston. Boston, they made some sneaky decent moves this year. I think their pitching will be better this year. The hitting, it'll probably be good at Boston, at New York, at some of the other parks. We'll see. Okay. I'm going with Baltimore fourth. I don't know what happened with Baltimore.
They just fell off the face.
Really on the line. It looked like they had a lot of young talent. They really was on the up creep. But now I'm looking at that lineup, and it'll
starting to even out, B. That's all it is. They starting to even out.
and the pitching just ain't quite what we thought it was going to be. So that's that. And yeah, Tampa Bay, who usually would be around in there, but Tampa ain't spending the money. I think they working out to where in a few years would not be surprised if they end up going elsewhere. That's the East. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about our division now, AL Central. Of course, we got the team that won last year's AL Central, the Indians. You got the Tigers, you got the Twins, you got the White Sox, and you got the Royals. What you got?
I got Cleveland repeating. For the reason being, I don't have a reason. I just think that they're going to be the number one team in that division again, man, because it seems like they're gritty, and I think Tito being their coach definitely has something to do with it. I'm going to go with the Tigers on the second place team. Then I'm going to give you Minnesota, followed by KC, because, that could go either way, and the last team, of course, is the Chicago White Sox, without a doubt.
Okay, I'm going to go from the bottom up this time. White Sox, no doubt, will again be the worst team in the American League. They basically did not do much anything to improve on that. I think this is a tank year for them, where they are trying to get that solid number one, number two overall pick again and build up that doggone minor league system so that sometime 27, 28, they could be a team worth talking about. After that, I disagree with you. I'm going with Minnesota to finish ahead of the White Sox because, and again, Minnesota, they did that whole let's get rid of everybody thing during the trade deadline. So ain't much to work with in Minnesota, but it's still a better team when you think they got Byron Buxton over there and what have you. They got a little bit to work with, but that pitching staff is going to be challenged. And in NL Central, where they got to get the Tigers and the Indians, and then they got to play the Red Sox, the White. Yeah, it's going to be a long season for them. Third, I got the Royals. The Royals, I think, are going to be surprisingly better than people realize because they did have a decent minor league system, and they did start to look a little better going into the later part of last year before they kind of slumped at the end. But I do believe they will have a solid team. I can see them finishing around 500 or so. And then, again, I understand to a degree why Hugh says what he said. But no, I got to put Cleveland next. I think this is finally the year that offense catches up with them. They have decent pitching, okay? They truly do. But that offense is not a power offense. It is a punch and Judy, let's manufacture some runs offense for the most part, outside of course, one of the greatest third basemen of all time over there. And that doggone Ramirez. Now, he gives my Tigers fits. I can't stand him, but I got to give him that brother plays ball. Now, that being said, we've been Cleveland's biatch for about last decade. I think it finally ends this year because the one thing we got that Cleveland going to have problems with this year is that starting pitching. We do have the best rotation, at least in the American League for sure. And that definitely should pay dividends enough to get us the division. Okay. So I'm going with my Tigers to win the Central. Okay. All right. We're not going to the AL West, where we got, of course, the Mariners, the Angels. We got Oakland/Sacramento. We got Texas, and we got who I'm forgetting there?
Houston.
Houston. There we go. What we got?
I'm actually going with Seattle going as the number one team in that division, man. I just think that what they have over there, man, one of the best catches in the game. And you got my man Julio Rodriguez. It's a lot of good stuff over there. The pitching staff is not really too shabby neither. I just felt like last year they snuck up on people. They won't sneak up on people this year, but I still believe that they'll have enough firepower to, claim that division. And it's going to be hard because you got Texas and Houston, but both of those teams are injury prone. And then number 2, I will go with Texas, man. I just feel like because of their pitching, and they got some really good versatile players over there. They spent a little money for them guys like we've seen before, and then they finally start to pan out. But then in my third place team, of course, I'm going to go with Houston. Houston can be third or they can be number 1 on this list. You never know what you're going to get with Houston, but they always stay consistent. I know they won't be on the bottom of the totem pole. And then you have Oakland or Sacramento, whatever you want to call them, man, because of the fact is they're going to be okay, but they're not going to be that good. They're going to have some good players and good talent that you're going to look at, but still ain't going to be enough for that division. And then on the bottom of the totem pole, I was going to put the Los Angeles Angels, man. I just don't feel like with that team, man. And I feel like they did make a couple good moves, but just don't really feel like with the injuries to Trout and some of the things that go on in the organization, man, it's bad luck, man. Especially like when they had Shohei and couldn't even go to no championship. So I just think that bad luck gonna continue with them. And I got them at the bottom of the list.
I definitely got Seattle winning that division. I don't think they'll be as good as they was last year, but they still will be well and good enough to win that. Texas will be second. Texas will be solid this year. I pray DeGrom has another decent season. The rest of the team, solid in places. Other spots, they probably could use a bit. If they get close to the trade deadline, I definitely see them being as one of the teams that will be buyers over sellers. Houston, I think we will now start to see the decline in Houston. Pretty much for a decade, Houston been right there with everybody. But now that they didn't let key people go, including Wilmer Valdez, et cetera, Tucker's gone. Yeah, I do believe we will start to see the decline. It will still be the little man's team. I love that little dude, even though he's a cheater. But all is said and done, I think they're right there in the middle. All right. Then, of course, who did we say? Oh, yeah, the Angels. The Angels will be not the last team in that league because I feel like with Oakland/Sacramento working on Project Vegas, that if they are anywhere close to good around the trade deadline, they'll fix that. And they will sell to build up that minor league so that when they finally do get over there to Vegas next year, they're going to start out with a brand new team with new stars for you to cheer for, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're a fan of the Oakland-Sacramento team, particularly their minor league system, rest assured you should see a lot of your better players come up to the majors to see what they got so they can start to figure out what that Vegas team looks like a little bit down the line. As far as go, we know where they went wrong. It all goes back to that draft 3 years ago. You remember that, Hugh?
Yeah, all the pitchers.
They drafted all pitchers. I think that has come back to bite them in the bunsies, okay? Not to mention the fact that the great Mike Trout just ain't that great.
No, everything.
I mean, we figured he'd be good to about 40. I think finally at some point we get to the middle of the season and he just doing all right. They're gonna be like, look, Mike, can you defer some of that money? We'll still pay some of that. We got to get you off the books, brother. you was supposed to all this money we paid you. We can't afford you no more. So go on over there to the Yankees or the Mets or whatever, so you can be close to your home in New Jersey. And
really,
you gotta go. So that's that. So yeah, I definitely got Seattle. All right, so American League all set. So we got basically Seattle, New York, and then some combination of Cleveland and Detroit as your division winners. Okay. The wild card, I say probably Toronto, probably Cleveland again. I don't think there's going to be much difference between who won and who was in the playoffs last year from this year. Who do you have winning on the American League side?
The American League side, man. I definitely feel like at this point, man, it's a toss-up, but I'm gonna go with my boys, man, and I'm gonna go with the Yankees. But the only reason why is because I feel like they feel some kind of way. And I think Vlad didn't make it any better, man. Throwing it in their face, when they beat them. So I think they're gonna come back with a lot of energy. And yeah, I definitely think they're gonna try to go out the way to dethrone those dudes, man.
I do believe in my heart, not being a homer, but I think this is the year that the Tigers pull it off and they find their way to the World Series. Okay, so I got them winning on the American League side. Now over to the National League. All right, let's start out with the Central first, because that's the weird. Okay, we got, of course, over there Cincinnati. We got Chicago. We got Pittsburgh. We got Colorado. What's the one I'm missing? Cincinnati, Chicago, Pittsburgh. Milwaukee. There we go. Milwaukee. Who you got?
Oh man, I just like what the Brew Crew doing over there, man. So I'm gonna definitely have them being top in that division, and it's gonna be a close one, man. I don't even think it's gonna be by a lot of games. At this point, I was gonna pick, the Cubs because my man's Pete, PCA, everybody love that dude, and he just got rewarded just for being the player he is. Pete Crow Armstrong was one of the best players I've seen in a while. So, yeah, but no, man, I'm gonna still go with the Brew Crew, man, because I just like what they did for some reason, man, and I don't really think they're gonna fall off of what they have. And then I will go with the Chicago Cubs, like I was saying. And I love my man's Ellie De La Cruz, but I just don't really feel like Cincinnati is going to do much. Pitt's in that same level. You got O'Neill over there, O'Neill Cruz, and you got some good players, but they're going to be the bottom of the totem pole. But the next team is going to be St. Louis, man, and I'm going to go with St. Louis Cardinals because you never know what team you're going to get. They can either go all the way or they can lose and just tank out, man. But that's the third team. And then I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh, and then I'll have Cincinnati being last in that division.
I can't even do it to them. Cincinnati, they at least got. I mean, bottom line, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. This is a very key year for both of those organizations because they got some key members on that team, and if they don't show those guys that they are trying to build and try to win, when it comes time to sign them up, particularly when we talk about Paul Skeens, who at the tender age of 25, hot smoking girlfriend, so on and so forth, trying to get them endorsement deals and whatnot, you ain't going to get but so much in Pittsburgh, okay? So if y'all ain't trying to win for real, I'm pretty sure his agent is telling him, yeah, you get up out of here, we can get you big money. And as soon as you hear that, teams like the Mets and the Yankees, and of course them Dodgers, just yes, we'll be on for another decade.
He the guy to look for,
right.
Too.
And then of course, now we know that De La Cruz is like sign back to Cincinnati. No, I don't think so. He is probably going to be the biggest trade bait during that time of year. And bottom line is, if you a team and you need to settle that middle. Hell, I think he probably wouldn't even be opposed to going to third or playing the outfield because he's done both of those things. Get that brother over there and get him paid and just let him do his thing for the next decade. And as far as O'Neill Cruz go, that wouldn't be a bad pickup either. So them two going to be around in the middle. Milwaukee, y'all know he got that dude, Jay Mize. If you're not familiar with that young pitcher, you definitely going to want to check him out when he starts, man.
Peace, man.
That dude is a killer, okay? And he only going to get better. In terms of who winning that division, I'm going with the Cubs. I think they find a way. The main reason, because I think if they anywhere near close when the trade deadline get here, let's get there. They basically gonna do what Seattle did last year and spend the money and make it happen.
I definitely would disagree with that neither, man, because them was gonna be two of my top teams, man.
Right, and as far as the Cards go, you can't never count the Cardinals out of none of that scenario. But I can't see them finishing last, but I definitely don't see them finishing first.
Not at all.
All right, let's move on to National League East. You know, we got Philly, we got Atlanta, we got the Mets, we got Miami. Okay, who I'm missing? Always
Washington.
Yeah, that's why. That's why. I got them second to last. Actually, I think Miami, even though you think with all the good prospects they done had in the minor leagues and whatnot, they should be starting to. They just don't seem to want it. Maybe it's because Miami just ain't really a good baseball city. You would think it would be, but it really just ain't.
It seemed like since my man Hernandez passed away, man, it just seemed like they just didn't have
been quite a thing. I would agree. So them two fight for the bottom, okay? The Braves. I think the Braves moved back up into the talk, okay? Last year they just had a bad season in terms of
injuries and everything,
and the pitching and so on and so forth. If they stay healthy, they should be right here. The Mets, they didn't spend money. I don't think they necessarily spent the right money. Yeah, they'll have some good seasons out of Soto and whatnot. Letting my mans go to Baltimore, that was a mistake.
Yeah, Pete, yeah.
Getting rid of the pitchers they didn't got rid of the last few years, also a mistake. I think it's going to cost them this year. And that being said, I'm going with Philly to win that division. Philly has a very solid lineup. Even though they got rid of Castellanos, I still feel like they won't miss him much.
No.
They got Realmuto in that lineup. They, of course, got Bryce Harper over there. I like what they got going, all right? So definitely look at them. Oh, don't forget, of course, our guy Schwarber.
Yeah.
Super Matt. So, yeah, they got a very solid pitching staff over there. They got a good relief and bullpen. I think it will be enough to get them right where they need to be in the East.
I'm going to go with the bottom to the top. Miami, of course, I believe is going to be the second from the last team, of course, because I don't trust Washington whatsoever. Then I will go with Miami.
Mm-hmm.
But then the third on that list is going to be the Atlanta Braves to me. I believe this time Philly's going to be second. Mm-hmm. I believe with the addition of Bo Bichette, man, and for what they spent over there, man, I definitely think at this point they're going to sneak up on everybody, and I think the Mets this time is going to be the leaders of that division.
So I think it's all work in, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just go on, move over there in this Shea Stadium. Why don't you? All right, so of course that leaves us with the West. And
okay.
Of course, I know the West. All right, we got Colorado that I forgot is in the West and not the Central. My bad. They was at one point. They not. I do think they moved them around at some point. Okay, we got Colorado. We got Arizona Diamondbacks. We got San Diego. We got Los Angeles. Who we talking? What we talking? What we got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go from last to first. Last, of course, is Colorado. Let's don't get that twisted. That'll never be twisted.
We'll be the worst team in baseball again.
Then I'm going to hit you with San Francisco as the shocker. And after San Francisco, I'm going to go with Arizona, man. I'm going to go with Arizona being at the third time, man, because I just like them dudes, man. I like that whole squad. Ever since they went to the World Series, I just thought that they had a scrappy team, man. And I believe with the injuries last year,
that's what that means, bro. They scrappy.
That hurt them last year with them injuries. And we was like, damn, because every time you turned around, somebody got hurt. Mm-hmm. And I think the longest Corbin's on that team, man, they're going to be good regardless of that, man. And they got some pretty decent pitching. But let's just be honest, man. San Diego's going to be the second team. And then, man, you know, that team of all teams, the Los Angeles Dodgers, is going to be always in it, man. And
So
I think they're going to be the ones who get out of that division.
right. I have no arguments for none of it. I got the exact same order as Hugh does in the West. The Dodgers have spent over $500 million for payroll. How do you not pick them to win the damn division? Okay. So, of course, we got the playoffs going. I'm looking at Dodgers. I'm looking at Phillies. I'm looking at Chicago. I'm looking at Atlanta. Them the four that's going to fight for it in the end. I got to pick the Dodgers again, y'all.
And I still feel like the World Series is going to be something wacky like the Dodgers. But then I still feel like it's going to be somebody who we at least suspect. Like you said, like the Tigers will come out the division and nobody would even see it coming. Yeah, they got good pitching, but I believe the offense is going to surprise people this year.
I ain't going to be surprised. They got to hit better than they did at points last year. Remember, up until that big stupid slump they went on at the end of the season, they was a top 5 offense. I do believe they will keep it going this year. There should be less strikeouts this year now that they got a new hitting coach. We should see more walks. We should see McGonagall have a pretty decent season. I think he is the key in that hitting. That since they brought him on up to be the everyday shortstop / third baseman, that he will pay dividends early and often. That being said, y'all ain't gonna like it, but when all is said and done, our World Series champ this year, gotta go with them damn Dodgers again, dog.
Let's half of that lineup get hurt. I don't see them not winning.
I mean, think about it. Right now, the Dodgers got about 15 solid players that they can play every day. They got at least about 8 starters for real. So they pretty much already said, don't look for us to be traditional. We're going to have times where people rest. We're not even going to pitch Shohei a whole 30, 40 games. He probably just going to pitch like 20, 25 games. And he seemed to be cool with that. And as long as he cool with that, they cool with it. And, of course, you've seen that bullpen. And remember last year where they did win, they did have some injuries in that bullpen.
They did.
With everybody healthy, it's hard to pick against them. Now, understand, no team, and I repeat, no team in the history of the National League has ever won 3 consecutive championships. Not happening. So, that being said, Hugh, do you have the Dodgers winning also?
No.
Who you got?
The other guys. Nah, man, I don't see nobody beating the Dodgers, man.
Okay, let's keep it real, Hugh. It may be good for the 2 biggest markets in baseball, but is another Yankees-Dodgers World Series good for the league?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think it's as good as I feel like the Yankees going to be as far as some of the good moves and stuff they made. I just feel like it's going to be like one of them underdog teams, like the Tigers that beat them, man. You know, we always seem like we had a number 2 regardless, man, for some reason. But yeah, man, I feel like at this point it'd be better to have another team in it, man, because I love to see like the Seattles and other teams like that come up, man, and you know that'll have a good game against them. But it's just they're gonna get out pitched in, and it's gonna be the hits, man, you know. And it seems like every time you turn around, you get like just players that they don't necessarily need, but they just get them, man. So everybody go over there to win, and I just don't see that changing.
All right, now we got our usual quick questions we do at the end of the preview. Who's your MVP this year in the American League, National League?
American League, I'm going to go with a surprise this year, Julio Rodriguez. That's who I have in the AL. But because and I don't want to do this, man. Let me knock on wood. I want it to be Bobby Witt Jr., but I believe he probably get injured, man, and that probably cost him.
No. I don't want to see that.
But that's what I really want.
Bobby Witt Jr. play.
But you know what? I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna go with Bobby Witt Jr. because he's supposed to have it the last 2 years, man. 3rd time the charm. So I'm gonna switch it up at the last minute and say Bobby Witt Jr. for my MVP in the AL. And then the NL is going to be a surprise, man, because I don't think it is going to be your boy who you think it would be, Shohei Ohtani. Guess who I think is going to be?
Who?
Mookie Betts this time.
Interesting.
Ain't that cool? Because I think that this time Betts going to win it. Because last year when they needed Betts, man, he He was there, man. So yeah, I think that outside of him being injured, if he can stay healthy, I'm gonna go with Betts having a strong year and being able to actually get that this year, man.
Okay, I'm gonna be a homer and once again say that Ohtani does it again. I think he has a better season than he did last year because now he's adjusted to once again being a pitcher / hitter, and that will make him a better hitter this year. He may not have as many home runs as the last couple of years, but I think he'll have a better average and will have more steals again. So I'm going with him as my MVP over there. In the American League, here's a shocker. I'm actually going to go with Vlad Guerrero Jr. as the MVP in the American League. I think he's going to have a damn good season over there, and he will pull it off. As far as the Cy Young Award winner, I don't think we're going to get a three-peat. I think the whole stress of having to contend with what I'm going to do after the season, or am I going to get traded, I think that's going to mess with Tarik Skubal. Not to mention, I'm curious to see what the reaction for him is going to be early on in the season, particularly if he starts out not doing so well. I think the fans are going to turn on him in a bad way.
Damn.
So because of that, I'm going to go as my American League MVP with the person who should also be the comeback player of the year in the American League, Garrett Cole.
Yep.
Be my choice for AL MVP. As far as National League MVP, Cy Young Award winner, I think this is the year that Skeens gets his. I say Skeens will be the NL Cy Young Award winner. All right. Then, the question that I always ask every year, are we going to see anybody hit over 350 this year?
No.
Agreed. Are we looking at another 60 home run year for somebody this year?
Yes.
Who is that person?
60 home runs. I'm going to go with Shohei.
All right. How many 50 home run people we looking at this year?
I'm going to say back maybe 2, 3.
I'm going 4.
That's good.
I think Cal Riley hits 50 again this year. I think that doggone Aaron Judge get 50 again this year. I think Schwarber is going to hit 50 this year. And I think Shohei is going to get right around 50. So I got them 4. And let's just throw it in just to be funny. The leader in steals in Major League Baseball is going to have how many steals?
I'm going to give it to him, and I'm going to say 40.
I'm going to say 62, and I'm going to say it's going to be Dela Cruz.
Yeah, because that dude fast, man. All
right. And, McGonagall is definitely my rookie MVP in the American League. I'm a whole judgment on the National League because I'm thinking early on, if Pittsburgh just do all right, they're going to bring that kid up, and he's going to show up and show out when he get here.
Yeah, man, that one I can't even really predict, man. Right now, as far as who's going to be the best rookies, man. I just want to just chill and wait and see because I still haven't really seen much yet. But, I just want to see what they got in the store, man. I say if about time the trade deadline and the All-Star break come around, then I have a better answer, around that point.
All right. I got a couple quick hits, then we can call it a show.
Yes,
one,
sir.
Congratulations to the Wisconsin women's hockey team for winning the national championship last week. It is their 5th national championship in 7 years. Are you impressed by that?
Absolutely, man. 5 and 7 years, man. Who wouldn't be impressed with that, man? So that means 2 years, man, that they possibly could have still been in there, man. But then, 5 out of 7 is a dynasty. So yeah, I'm definitely impressed.
Okay. In other news, it is said it's a possibility that Tiger Woods may play in the Masters. Your thoughts?
Every time Tigers play, man, it seems like everything everything goes up from there, man. Endorsements and everything. I feel like he's good for the game. So every time he steps foot on that grass and when he plays, man, that elevates everybody else's game too. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I feel like it's good for the sport as usual.
If he somehow plays in these majors and wins one of them, I predict it's one of the biggest sports stories of the decade. Not just of the year, of the decade. Okay, finally, speaking of comebacks, it's said that somebody else is considering a comeback for Wimbledon. One Serena Williams. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not really worried, man. I feel like at this point, man, I would like to see it, but if it happened, that's good. If it don't, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But I know that, like you said, not only one, but both of them are good for the game, man. So it makes for better for the sport. So I'm hoping, if anything, that we can see, those two and playing at a high level at least, man. Because I don't want to see a shell of the people like a Tiger Woods or Serena. I want to see the best versions of them. So yeah, that's interesting to watch out for.
It's not something she needs. She is one of the best tennis players ever. It's definitely better for tennis than it is for her. I mean, think about it. You Serena Williams. You done made over $300 million in the sports, not counting your endorsements, and your husband's a billionaire. You don't really need to play no more.
Really,
you play it because you truly got the love.
I think it's time for her to just be training her daughter or what have you. If that's the decision, she go with, But yeah, man, like you said, but that being said, man, she really don't have to. But who knows?
It. Okay. We can call the show after you tell people where they can find you, brother.
Y'all can catch me on Instagram, Whoovi, WHOOVI. I put a lot of my work on there, me and E, and we put our brand on there, of course. You can also catch me on Facebook, Sports Guru to You, where I put a lot of breaking news and different things around the leagues. And Hugh.Lee6 is my TikTok page. And like I said before, if you want to hit me up, and just give me any type of comments or anything, you can kind of holler at me either on my Hugh413@gmail.com, or I prefer you to go to my sports page, Sports Guru to You @gmail.com. And like to give shouts out to, family and friends who are always showing love and support, and, show love to the network as well. Y'all know who y'all are.
Absolutely. Also got to shout out my people over there at Hawk World Radio Detroit, my new radio station that we have started up. We are upload music and getting playlists and stuff together. You can check it out by going to Live 365, looking up Hawk World Radio Detroit, putting that app on your phone. So then next time when you want to listen to the station, you just click on Live 365, add it to your favorites, so the station will automatically pop up and you're good to go. If not, then you should be able to find a link to it on my Eric Buckner Facebook page. So check it on out. We appreciate you. All right, y'all. Until next week, we are talking sports no further. We must also say prayers for all who need prayer, and tell you, as we always do, try not to stress, be blessed. When all else fails, put your hands together and pray to the man up above to deal with the rest. He will work it out for you. All right, then, till next week, good people. You know what to do, Hugh. Throw the deuces up. We about.